So I wake up, I see Daddyfight posting a video today, and I was gonna record this video. You all saw the poll, but it's okay. I think I can do a better job anyways. So how's it going, everyone? Entropy here today with another video. Today we're gonna be talking about the necessary considerations you need to perform well in the Legion metagame. So for JP players, this is probably a bit too late for you. You probably have the experience. But for global players, we are only 5 days in, myself included, and I found that the game is quite very different. So hopefully I can present some tips for you to think about and play better. So to start, let's define Legion. I think that's a great place to start. To Legion, you return 4 cards from the drop zone, you seek the mate from the deck, and that's the basics, right? Daddyfight can tell you this much, but I can tell you more. Here's where we dig deeper into the rabbit hole. So here's an interesting one. First player's 4th turn or second player's 3rd turn, right? What are the implications on that ruling? Well, this brings on the role of 1st or 2nd, right? Before maybe 1st, you get a grade 3 first, you have a bigger body on defense, you get to twin drive first. This is more substantial in the TCG than in 0, but in 0, I think the distinction is much more profound. The ideal ride target, your first grade 3 ride target, changes. If you're going first, many of your Legion units don't have skills beyond Legion, or when Legion, as such, if you're riding a vanilla or your usual ride targets going first, you might be playing a very vanilla slow game until turn 4. So for example, if you are playing Seekers, you're going straight into your Thing Savers or Wingles, it's fine, but it's probably not as good as going straight into something that does something like splitting Seeker Brutus. Now Brutus just helps you plus on place, helps you at least do something before you Legion. And in addition, since you're not Legioning immediately, you don't need haste. You don't need to hurry on setting up your drop zone. You don't need to hurry on filtering and doing all that stuff. You can take your time, let your opponent get rid of your intercepts, and you have 1 extra turn to check drive triggers, and then you can just Legion those in. So going first, you can play more relaxed. You have to think of how to be more proactive with not just Legioning. Because if you're not trying to play that normal non-Legion game to actually compensate for not being able to Legion on your grade 3 turn, then you're going to be behind and it's going to be rough. Going second, this is definitely less of a challenge since you can Legion on your first grade 3 turn. Be sure to use your filter skills and make sure you're not minusing yourself too much. Overextending on turn 3 for the sake of Legion can be very punishable, especially since some Legions don't really help you plus. For example, this would be much more detrimental for decks like Brawlers than others like Seekers that can just help you plus back and replenish your board and card advantage. Next, speaking of how you consider your play, thinking about maybe considering other ride targets, this is where we talk about the Mulligan, right? Take into consideration of what I just mentioned, and besides that, in general, in this meta, you're going to be mulliganing for PGs, you're going to be mulliganing for filter pieces like Lien, Nirubiru, Phoenix, grade 2 intercepts because your opponent has to hit over them, and then you have to, it's fuel. You don't even need to drop and draw and slow down your game for it. And of course, your ideal grade 3 ride target, right? So it depends on if you're going first or second. The extent in which specific units, again, depend on aspects like the particular deck and your playstyle. But generally speaking, these are going to be a core part of your deck because they synergize well with the Legion mechanic. And you should consider your Mulligan strategies slightly differently than in the Break Ride era, per se. So PGs, do you want new PGs or old PGs? And to clarify, old PGs are the pre-Break Ride era ones. Their activation condition is when you're going to take lethal, like 6 damage, or when a 2 crit plus unit is going to put you 1 away from lethal. So for those who follow the JP metagame, you will know that there's a clear trend towards old PGs. And in simpler terms, it's because we're not in a Limit Break 4 centric metagame, right? We don't need specific damage count in order to make big plays anymore, right? Legion is the big play these days. With that said, old strategies like damage denying with 2 crit Vanguards are still here. It's resurfacing because more people are playing old PGs. Clans like Nova Grapplers or Genesis have access to these crit generating Vanguards, and maybe if you're more comfortable at lower damage count, that's fine, but what you'll quickly find yourself being stuck in is constraint with CB, and that's definitely something that these two clans can do, and some other decks moving forward in the Legion era as well. In addition, triggers are much more accessible due to the Legion mechanic, right? So specifically, the best trigger of them all, heal triggers, the odds of hitting them just went through the roof. And we all know to activate heals, you need to be of equal or more than your opponent's damage count. And so if you're playing new PGs and your opponent's playing old PGs, well, even if you're playing the same deck, the chances of you successfully healing is just higher. And maybe that's just what changes the game up. Not just about having one less damage because you healed, but maybe because you have one more open counterblast to actually make plays with. So think about which decks need that counterblast, and think about which decks want or can heal much more. Seekers. At the end of the day, it's a choice, and it's a deck choice, it's a playstyle choice, and it's a metagame choice. The tips I'm sharing are from 5 days of play from the Legion era, and if you have any other tips, feel free to share down below, and I'd love to discuss with you all. It's a really brief video, just my initial thoughts, and don't want to overcomplicate things to make things too messy, I guess, but be down to explain myself in the comment section if you have any questions. And all I can say, the biggest takeaway here is to think critically, right? Like any game goes through cycles of big shifts in the meta, maybe not as forceful as a big mechanic like Legion, but it really is a soon-to-be kind of case for JP with Strides. But always be on your toes and think about what you're doing, what your opponent's doing, and what the game is doing. And if you consider all three aspects, I think you can definitely improve your game. So that's all from me for today. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already and want to see more. And next up will be deck profiles for set 18. Remember to vote on the poll, which I will put up for which deck profile you want to see first. And for specific tips and guidelines, be sure to stick around for those. And until next time, bye.